8mm gun of the King Tiger. And the two beasts will face each other. The Duke joining in as well. Frontal shot to the Pershing, forcing it back. And we see a Sherman sneaking in from the west. Not looking good, but anti-tank guns are being seized to try and bolster the anti-tank assets. Pioneers quickly repairing the King Tiger, but an anti-tank gun from the front firing away, probably with armor-piercing rounds, doing a bit of damage. Pershing now joining in. It's a bit of a vice. Armored forces from all sides. Their goal to destroy the noble King Tiger, the bane of all American armor. The sniper even joining in, and we see the firestorm called in to try and clear out some of all of this. Possibly hit the sniper, or possibly hit the anti-tank gun. Not much luck, but it does seem to do a bit of damage with this Pershing. And looks like this Pershing might be knocked out. Another shot, and the main gun and a firestorm shot wrecks it. Absolutely nice. And this Sherman with veterancy 2 is looking a bit unfortunate. Now the pack and the King Tiger fires away. But this King Tiger will need to get out of there for repairs, since it is certainly low on health. And what does it do? Oh no, Mr. King Tiger, you're turning around and exposing the rear armor in the face of the Americans nonetheless. Signaling them to turn upon you. Oh, most tragic. And I'd certainly like to have that commander dispatched to the Eastern Front if he survives. And there we go. Heavy damage to the rear. Damaged engine again. It will need to turn around quickly. King Tiger, turn around. Grenade going off on this anti-tank gun to try and clear it up, but no luck. And the King Tiger does turn around, slowly trying to back away. The frontal armor being able to do more. Force Grenadiers trying to hold back. Stu getting stickied, and now receiving anti-tank gun fire itself. The King Tiger will need to continue back a bit further. Pioneers desperately laying down a bunker to set up a repair bunker to aid in the repairs of the King Tiger. Will they succeed? And the anti-tank gun continues to rush forwards, trying to catch the wounded beast. And Force Grenadiers, Grenadiers in fact, are rushed in from the west to try and aid. And oh no, the King Tiger is turning again. Absolutely dreadful. One more shot and it could be the end. I do notice this and quickly order the turning of the King Tiger once more, but it might be too late. Another grenade and the King Tiger is wrecked. Absolutely terrible. A dreadful loss for the fatherland. And certainly terrible. And this bunker continues to be repaired with the repair bunker. And certainly would perhaps now have been more helpful with the medical bunker, but it is too late, as I'm more devastated over the loss of the King Tiger. Force gun is remaining this anti-tank gun, since I certainly suspect some fresh armor to be rushed in, possibly even a Pershing, since well, now I don't have a King Tiger to hold those back. But for now I hold most of the map, despite having taken heavy losses and heavy attrition. I still hold several infantry teams, 3 Grenadier teams, and a few Force Grenadiers. Grenadiers firing away. Force Grenadiers hitting a mine while moving through here. Further Grenadiers, now 2 LMG 42 teams firing away at these riflemen. Will they actually do anything? Not a lot, actually. Barely scratching these riflemen. And again, I'd certainly say a downgrade compared to the actual rifle. Now further riflemen moving ahead, and a grenade goes off, forcing these riflemen Grenadiers back. Bike moving ahead again to try and see if we can't take out some of these snipers. Only one though for now. 50 kill those. Very spectacular. And again, perhaps a counter sniper would have been the better choice. And riflemen storming these Grenadiers with the aid of a bike, and a sticky bomb goes off, and this will certainly be the end of the bike. It does spot the sniper, but is knocked out. First Grenadiers charging ahead to aid the Grenadiers. Not looking good though, as further riflemen are moving in. Of course, there's still that pesky sniper in the background. Further Force Grenadiers getting killed. And we see a small engineer team seizing this western victory point. And a fresh sniper is moved on to the field. Albeit considering how little else in terms of unity he has, it's perhaps not the best choice. And we see some Force Grenadiers being quickly directed to the western front to try and stop those engineers and retake what is rightfully mine. And we do see 2 Grenadiers lunging about a bit while Foes Grenadiers are taking this victory point. So far the victory point count is so far equal, albeit I do have a small advantage. A fresh Duke is being produced to try and bolster my armored forces and of course be a nuisance to his infantry. The sniper duo moving ahead once more.
Our opponent has 200 points.
And the Grenadiers pulling out as well. The repair bunker is ready to conduct repairs on my Stug. The Stug 4 being the result of the Alkit factories being bombed by the Allies, meaning there weren't quite the factory resources to actually produce enough Stug 3s for the war effort, and thus a factory of usually producing Panzer 4s was transformed into a Stug factory as well, meaning it of course needed a Stug based on the chassis of the Panzer 4. So a bit more of an emergency solution rather than an actual design necessity. But it still served well, albeit not in as great numbers. And we see the Stug 4 moving ahead. Machine gun ready to open fire on these sneaky riflemen who are trying to take this anti-tank gun, of course limiting their own firepower as well. Grenadiers taking quite a lot of firepower, and we see a firestorm to try and clear out this nest of trouble. And looks like a sniper was almost taken out, but this anti-tank gun certainly is. And we see a recaptured anti-tank gun firing up, and again a bike. Again, I'm just not comfortable with snipers, and once more throwing in a bike. Certainly really should have considered something else, at least another Nebelwerfer for just some artillery to just bombard those snipers from a distance, but sometimes I do have a tendency of getting rather worked up on an idea. Sniper getting once more killed by a Stug. Certainly an interesting Stug to sniper ratio in terms of kills. And I'm certainly not complaining, and we see those trusty repair pioneers beginning to repair the Stug and ensure it is at maximum operational capacity, while the Grenadiers are in fact securing the entire western part for the most part, except for this single munitions point, because for some reason I have this idea that if I take it, I'm certainly going to convince him to move down the west as well. But of course, as you may have noticed, the rate of attrition has also been very high on him, and of course having to get new snipers will really set him back, since snipers are expensive. Anti-tank gun firing away. Certainly the bane of my Stug. And fresh Grenadiers moving ahead again. All with LMG 42 so well. Some of the teams. This team only having managed 9 kills, despite and this one having managed 26, most of those being without the LMG 42. And me pointing out this has been actually quite the game, quite a long game in fact, and a fresh firestorm called in, ready to harass the Americans. And a sniper actually gets taken out this time, and looks like a rifleman team might as well. No, one man does barely make it out of there, but certainly quite fortunate me. But this veteran sniper does manage to still retain life. 57 kills. Certainly a hero among American snipers. And if he makes it out of this alive, there will certainly be a Medal of Honor in it for him at least. And a Nebelwerfer now on the way. Going to try the usual artillery approach and just continue bombing. The landscape of the French countryside quite scorched after all of these Nebelwerfer rockets and Firestorm rockets. Although, fun fact, the German term for all of their rocket batteries were in fact Nebelwerfer, which basically the code name for all rocket batteries basically means chemical thrower, and the Americans had their own variant of it. Of course, they had chemical company, but they never actually got around to actually using it for rocket artillery. That was more the Germans. Stug taking fire from the anti-tank gun and not quite managing a shot on the sniper, although it probably could have killed him. Grenade going off amongst these Grenadiers, forcing them to retreat. Stug pulling back, but full Grenadiers moving ahead to try and clear out this. And Nebelwerfer firing off gloriously. And the anti-tank gun moves into the fire. Perhaps not the best idea. Certainly not getting closer to the full Grenadiers as well. The full Grenadiers beginning to focus on this anti-tank gun, hoping to clear it out before they are forced to retreat. But not managing it. Repair pioneers though are quick. And a fresh firestorm once more. And he actually moves it forward. That was probably a mistake. But the anti-tank gun apparently of mine managed to clear out the crew first, though, so a bit of a waste there. Grenadiers charging ahead once more. Actually having managed more kills than the one with the LMG-42. Again, rather things like that has me convinced that the LMG-42 is actually a downgrade. Grenadiers charging ahead. Firing away at these riflemen, causing quite a bit of damage. The Americans only down to 73 manpower. Fresh force moving ahead and firing quite at close range, but even then the Americans are barely taking any damage. And the MG on the Stug is actually doing a bit more. So again, for those saying well, you just need to get close with LMG-42, I'm not really seeing it. The Stug 42 at range is doing better. Stug 4 with its MG-42. So there you go, that's at least my opinion, and again I'm going to stick with it and suggest you don't use the LMG-42 until it's actually buffed. A small full Grenadier force acting as a defensive screen to deter any harassment here, with an American stolen heavy machine gun. Always nice. And we see 2 American snipers once more moving ahead, now almost 70 kills. Surely the pride of America. And certainly a thorn in my side. Stug 4 opening fire on these engineers, and a fresh Sherman moving ahead, having received the gun upgrade, which does give increased penetration. And sniper slowly getting out of there, but firing away at these Grenadiers. Sherman coming head to head with this Stug 4, and we have a Puma now out. Deciding I'd try a slightly different approach instead of the same units, hoping to mix things up a bit and perhaps throw him off his guard. Stug charging ahead, hoping to perhaps catch some snipers with its auto cannon. But not much luck. Instead, the Sherman begins focusing on the Stug, which is certainly not to my advantage. But the Stug does fire away at the Sherman, causing the Sherman to once more concentrate on the Stug. American riflemen moving ahead now with veterancy 3, which is certainly not bad. Nebelwerfer once more howling away. Looks like it might actually kill something, but mostly pinning some riflemen. I do hear some screams about someone's eye, actually. And the Puma has lost its engine. A bit sad. And we see Grenadiers here reinforcing and preparing for a fresh counterattack. Sherman moving ahead, and we will see a firestorm once more being dropped here, since we do have the munitions for it. And sticky bomb going off, and yes indeed we have a firestorm. Snipers right in the middle of it. Will they be lost? Apparently not. Most tragically, and in fact the Americans mostly dodge it. Another sticky bomb on this Stug. And this Sherman goes out of control before the sticky bomb knocks out the Stug. Most heroically done by this Stug crew. And I've certainly suffered some Stug losses actually. Probably a small platoon by now. But certainly also heavy armor losses for the Americans. And of course all of this means a lot of munitions to be salvaged. This is certainly to my advantage. And the fresh Stug is ready to halt the American forward rush. Very little left for the Americans. Some heavily wounded rifleman teams, and of course these 2 snipers, which are also a bit of a drain in terms of manpower every time he has to replace them. Grenadiers going for this victory point, and in fact only 42 points left. Certainly going to be very heated these last moments. Snipers taking shots at these Grenadiers, managing to decap the point. Another loss.